Armani, today I want to talk about something most salespeople completely misunderstand. How do you get somebody to trust you? Fast. Not on some giant $400,000 backyard renovation. I mean a normal job. A landscape cleanup, some shrubs, fresh mulch, a patio touch-up, maybe a drainage issue. The kind of project where the homeowner says, yeah, we're getting a few quotes. And honestly, the proposal usually isn't what decides who wins those jobs. The feeling does. Because sometimes a homeowner meets three contractors that all sound basically the same, and then one person walks the property differently. They notice things, they slow down, they care, they make the homeowner feel understood, and suddenly the client stops looking for a landscaper and starts thinking, this is the person I want to work with.
They stopped shopping because they didn't just find a price, they found a partner.
Exactly, and I see this all the time. Salespeople go in trying to prove they know how to measure a patio, but the client doesn't care about the tape measure. They care about how much you care.
Which brings us to the toys in the driveway. I was working with a sales leader recently who told me this incredible story. He pulled up to a massive property for a consultation. The client was asking for a retaining wall and some new hardscaping, but the first thing the rep noticed wasn't the grade of the lawn. It was the absolute chaos in the driveway. Bicycles, plastic dump trucks, soccer balls scattered everywhere.
Sounds like my house.
Right? And the client comes out holding a toddler, looking completely exhausted. The average rep pulls out their clipboard and asks, "So, what kind of wall are you thinking?" But this rep? He looked at the client, looked at the toys, and said, "It looks like you've got your hands full. Let's make this the easiest part of your month." He realized right then, the visible problem was the landscaping. The real problem was the client's stress.
The visible problem is rarely the real problem. That's exactly it. I call the alternative clipboard energy. You walk in, head down, taking measurements, acting like an inspector instead of a human. You're gathering data, but you're missing the person. Elite reps walk in with a completely different attitude. Their vibe is basically, your stress is now my problem.
Your stress is now my problem. That's a profound shift in identity. You're moving from a transaction to an act of service. When you bring clipboard energy, you're just adding to their mental load. You're giving them another vendor to manage.
And nobody wants to manage another vendor, especially not someone who's already overwhelmed. If you can take the mental weight off their shoulders, the price becomes secondary. You've solved the real problem before you even drafted the estimate.
So how do we actually operationalize that? Because taking their stress away sounds great in theory, but it requires specific behaviors to prove it. And I think it comes down to gathering meaning instead of just gathering measurements.
Gathering meaning. Give me an example of what that looks like on the ground.
Think about the morning coffee example. You're walking the property with the client, and they mention offhand, "Yeah, I usually come out to this corner of the deck with my coffee every morning, but the sun is just blinding right now." A clipboard rep writes down, "Needs shade structure." A meaning gatherer writes down, "Wants to enjoy morning coffee in peace."
That's huge, because when you send the follow-up, you don't say, here's the quote for a 12 by 12 pergola. You say, here's the plan to get your peaceful morning coffee back. People trust people who notice stuff.
People trust people who notice stuff. Exactly. It's the psychological principle of cognitive ease. When someone reflects your exact reality back to you, your brain relaxes. And when the brain relaxes, trust rises. The sale speeds up when the client feels safe.
And the fastest way to make them feel safe is through momentum. A lot of people think urgency is pushy, but when you follow up fast and you include those specific, meaningful details you noticed, that urgency signals that you actually care. Momentum feels like caring.
Momentum feels like caring. Another one to repeat in your head over and over. Caring is better than perfection. Genuinely care and find ways to show it. You're invested in solving their problem better than anyone else.
Exactly. So here's the 7-day challenge for everyone listening. For every single meeting you have this week, whether it's a new client, an upset customer, or even a team member, your follow-up needs to include 3 very specific things.
3 things. Break them down.
Number 1, send one specific observation you made that they didn't explicitly ask you to fix. Something you noticed. Number 2, address one core concern they have using their exact words. And number 3, give them a crystal clear timeline of what happens next. Observation, concern, timeline. Do that within 24 hours of the meeting.
You do that and you aren't just selling a project, you're building trust and connection. They'd be crazy to do this with someone else. Opportunity favors the visible and trust favors the attentive.
I love that. And honestly, If you start doing this, you're going to have a new problem on your hands. You're not going to spend all your time chasing clients anymore. You're going to spend your time figuring out which opportunities deserve your attention most. Because when people truly feel understood, cared for, and confident in you, they stop shopping. And that's when selling starts feeling a whole lot less like convincing and a whole lot more like helping.
Don't just wait, create the change.